GM. GM. Monday, 19th of February. Let's look at daily levels. So, um, good close, good weekly close. Solid weekly close at 52,070. So we've closed the weekly above 52K, which is huge, which is really, really big. And I think Bitcoin will continue in that direction this week. Whether we go, for a massive move higher or not, I'm not sure. I think it will probably continue to grind its way higher towards all-time high. There will be a pullback at some point. First place I'd be looking at if there's a pullback is the daily bands. But I think from here, when you look at this setup, and even as you go to a lower time frame, it seems pretty obvious that it's going to at least break the high first before any particular pullback that was to come. And in reality, we've already had it, right? So we had a nice strong trend up into the last weekend. And then price moved up. Then on Tuesday of last week, when we had the CPI number, we got a flush down into the bands. And then over the weekend, just now, so we pushed up into the end of the week. Over the weekend, we saw that little bit of weakness coming in, and the market flushed down, took out all those stops, and has now reversed back into this level here. So that's quite a nice move, I would say. If you actually look at quite a deep wick on the Bitfinex candle there, but on most exchanges, the wick just went down like that. And there's a few paths that I'd drawn out. Here we are. So it seems like we're following the green path. Blue path now, as I said yesterday, we dipped down, we took out the stops, we reversed back inside. Would it be a lower high and then end up going lower from there? It doesn't look like it. The way it's dipped below, came back above, held the bands, and currently still is holding the bands for a couple of days now, would tell me that we're going to at least target those highs first. So I can zoom out from a weekly perspective. I think it's quite clear that we're bullish. Another strong close. And like I said the other day, dips are for buying. So it doesn't mean that we go up only from here. But I would be fairly confident that if there's any downside, it's going to be a strong dip to buy. And yeah, but also, well, with that, what I said on Weekly Outlook as well, once you get over 48K, there's not a whole lot until 58. So now we're kind of right in the middle of that. And that's where it opens up a little bit of uncertainty, right? Because we got 48, which is an important level. There, I have it marked. We have 48, which is an important level, and we have 58, which is a big level. And we're pretty much right in the middle of that. So directionally, the strongest, like the absolute best long you'll get will be around 48, if possible. Otherwise, you're kind of just playing the momentum up to here. I would say that if we can touch the daily bands at some point before the 58 level, just from a trading perspective, that'd be a good place to add. So I would add if the daily bands hold, or I would add along if 48K gets retested. That'd be like how I'm looking at BTC right now. ETH. So ETH stronger and ETH leading as well. And you've seen these areas that I've talked about, higher highs and higher lows all the way for ETH. Don't buy over here, buy it here. And right now, as it's up only and pushing again, this is not the place to be buying. You had, several weeks to buy the dip down there. Now you want to wait. It probably goes further. I think ETH breaks 3,000 soon, overextends a little bit, and then will distribute and form a new higher low at some point, in the next whatever number of weeks. So that's probably taking ETH BTC into positive territory. Yeah, you can see ETH BTC now on the weekly is trying to reverse and form, a bottom, form a reversal here. As I said yesterday, I'll simply just wait now until the ETH BTC bands go green to then say, okay, ETH should now have a period of sustained outperformance. But yeah, so far, it looks fine like that. Would I be concerned that ETH is outperforming? Partially, right? It is true that typically if ETH starts to outperform, it's towards the end of some kind of move, because when Bitcoin leads and then ETH starts to lead, it's telling you that the market's shifting itself over to that new narrative. And the narrative for ETH is never really as strong as the narrative for Bitcoin. That's just a general rule of thumb. It's not always strictly true, but generally it is. So I would say no major concern yet. As you look at total, right? Total cap on the daily, looking good. Total 2, stronger again, and total 3, again also strong. So yeah, not much to me. Buy the dip would be what I would say. And what constitutes a dip? That's what you have to wait and see. But we had a dip over the weekend, as you saw, obviously on Bitcoin, and it got bought up. For me, it would be any decent correction, whether that's price based, where you get a flush of 10 or 15% on Bitcoin, or if it's time based, where you get several days of consolidation into the bands. Either one of those for me would be a signal to buy. So if you're looking at here on the total cap, if it pushed higher, or total 3, if it pushed higher and then sold off and chopped around sideways for a week and it was holding at the bands and it tested the bands and held them, that'd be a buy for me. That's what I mean by buy the dip. So we'll see. We're not there yet. Price is still going up. It is Monday, so be mindful. Sometimes fake moves come on a Monday. So if you pump on a Monday, quite often reverses on a Tuesday, and that would set up a sideways week if we do. If we pump on Monday and pump on Tuesday, it probably sets up a trend week where we just keep going higher. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll know about that later on. I'll be there at 5 p.m. UTC for the live stream. See you then. GM, GM, GM.